Hi students, how are you all? Today we are going to start the second lesson of history, which is going to be very informative and very interesting lesson. In this lesson, we will understand that how Britishers came in our India, what was their purpose to enter into India, and from the interest of business, how they turned towards political activities and how they took power of India. That we'll try to understand. So this is going to be very interesting lesson because it will give the core of British India. Okay, so beginning of British India. So we'll try to understand this from trade to company. So here you can see the picture. First of all, as you know, in 1600 East India Company was established in England. So here you can see some Britishers are here and they're establishing their power. Okay, so for doing business in East side, they established their company, East India Company. So first, what was the condition of India before Britishers came? That we'll try to understand. See, uh, Aurangzeb was the most cruel ruler, as you know. Okay, and he was having vast territory, means almost all over the India. Aurangzeb was dominant everywhere. But finally, in 1707, he died, and then rivalry and competition for the power started in different areas. So he was the last, means he was not last actually, but he was very strong leader. He established control over a very large part of the territory that is known as India. After his death in 1707, many Mughal governors and big zamindars began asserting their authority and establishing regional kingdom. As powerful regional kingdoms emerged in various parts of India, Delhi could not no longer function as an effective center. As I told you, when Aurangzeb died, other zamindars and even his sons also, they started competition with each other who will get the power. And because of this, there was a separation of power. Means earlier it was complete India upon which Aurangzeb was ruling, but after the death of Aurangzeb, there were small pieces of land upon which these zamindars, watandars, and his sons they were ruling. So in this way, India was divided into many parts. So that was the condition of India. After Aurangzeb, after the 1707, after the Aurangzeb, the East India Company was already settled in our India. Okay, so when they came in India, they started their business properly. But as you know, there was a principle of Britishers, divide and rule, and they got very nice opportunity in our India to implement this rule. So they saw that already there is anarchy in India. People, they are fighting with each other to get this power. So they just took the benefit of this situation and they started convulsing the political situation of India. So in this way, you can understand from this, after the death of Aurangzeb, there was complete anarchy. Then there can be a question in your mind, after the death of Shivaji Maharaj and Sambhaji Maharaj, they were there. Okay, but after 1990, there was no solid power, and the empire of Marathas at that time it was just confined to Maharashtra, and in Maharashtra also it was a specific part, okay, which is western part of Maharashtra. Okay, so in this way, after the death of Aurangzeb, Britishers got the chance to enter in Indian politics. So what was the preface of that? That we will see. See, now in England, what is going on? In 1600, the East India Company acquired a charter from the ruler of England, Queen Elizabeth I. She gave the charter to East India Company. What is this charter? Charter means if you give permission to specific company to do the business in that country, then no other company can compete with the first one. Means as Queen Elizabeth I, she gave the charter to East India Company, then no other company from England can compete with them. First of all, I would like to tell you the situation of Europe. See, in Europe, already there are some countries which are in competition with each other to do the business. Means they were discovering, searching new land where they can get the more and more benefit. Okay, for example, Spain, Portugal, France, England, all these countries, they were rivals of each other, and that's why they were searching new and new horizons. So if you talk about India, then you will come to know that definitely Britishers ruled India because they were in majority, but only Britishers only not came to India from Europe. French were also there, Dutch were also there, and Portuguese were also there. Okay, so all these people, they migrated from European countries to India to do the business. So from England, East India Company, it was given charter and they came to India. It means that no other trading group in England could compete with East India Company. The company did not fear competition from other English trading companies. See, mercantile trading companies in those days made profit primarily by excluding competition so that they could buy cheap and sell expensively. Okay, see, what was the way at that time to exclude to stop your competition? If you want to stop your competition, don't start competition. Very easy. Okay, means if any company is going to arise and is going to give the competition, instead of doing that, just exclude it from the competition. So that was the way of securing in the competition. By the first time, the first English ship sailed down the west coast of Africa, round the Cape of Good Hope, and crossed near the Africa, and they came to India. So this map I'm going to show you. But first of all, you should keep this in mind. See, this is the map. This way was discovered by Vasco da Gama. Okay, from Lisbon he started. Okay, and from this way, by going around Cape of Good Hope. This is called Cape of Good Hope, the southernmost part of Africa. By crossing that through Madagascar, then he came to Calicut. Calicut, that is in Kerala. Okay, so this way was discovered by Vasco da Gama. He came in India in 1498. Then he returned after 3 months, and again he came back in 1502. Okay, means after 4 years. So in this way was discovered by Vasco da Gama, and Britishers, they also came by this way only. Okay, here you can see St. Helena. Okay, now there can be a question. Earlier, India used to trade with other European countries, isn't it? Means you might have seen that many architectural designs from Greek, they have migrated to India from Greece, and same as this, many Indian products, they went through Silk Route to European countries. These are European countries, they came here. Then if this way was discovered in 1498, then earlier by which way they were migrating there? So this was the way. Here you can see this Arabian Sea, and here is a Suez Canal. So from this Suez Canal they went here. Then question arises, if it is so, then why Vasco da Gama he discovered new way, and why Britishers didn't come by this way? Okay, why they came by this way? That can be the question. So the answer is, in 15th century, this way was blocked by Turkey, means Turkestan, Ottoman Empire. They blocked this way. By this way you can't trade with India. So as this way blocked, then to trade you have to find new way, and that's why they started searching for new way. And in this way Vasco da Gama discovered this way, and by this way only Britishers came to India. So till here I hope everything is clear to you. Okay, in 1600 East India Company was established in England, and it was given charter by Queen Elizabeth I. Charter given means no other company will be in the competition of East India Company, and by Cape of Good Hope, by this way they came to India at Calicut. Okay, now East India Company begins trade in Bengal. Okay, so as they came there, then from Calicut again they went to Bengal by sea route only, and there they started their business. The first English factory was set near the banks of river Hooghly in 1651. This was the base from which the company traders, known as time as the factors, operated. The factory as the warehouse where the goods for export were stored and its officers were company officials sat. By 1696, it began to building forts. They started fortification. See, what was the reason behind it? Why Britishers started fortification? They thought, if we are a tradesman, then at that time there was the possibility of Marathas also, of Mughals also, then Nizam Shahi, Adil Shahi, all these dynasties were there. Then there was possibility that they will come and attack our warehouses. So what to do? So we will make fortifications. Okay, we will make forts and there we will live, so that we will be away from the threat. And that's why by 1696 they started fortifications, building forts. So building forts means you are securing, and forts are the most secured area to live. If someone comes to attack, then they will not be able to come easily in the fort. They have to fight first. That was the intention of Britishers. Now, so as this was going on and Britishers came to India for trade only. अगर वो इंडिया में सिर्फ ट्रेड करने के लिए ही आए हैं, तो फिर ब्रिटिशों के साथ हमारी लड़ाई हुई क्यों? इसके पीछे क्या रीजन था, वो अभी हम यहाँ पे समझते हैं. सी, 18th सेंचुरी में जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि औरंगजेब जाने के बाद बहुत सारे नवाब उभर कर आते हैं और वो अपनी सत्ता स्थापित करने की कोशिश करते हैं. अभी यहाँ पे 18th सेंचुरी में नवाब जो थे और कंपनी जो थी, इनके बीच में ये कन्फ्लिक्ट तैयार होने लगा. ओके, और ये कन्फ्लिक्ट बढ़ता गया. औरंगजेब के डेथ के बाद ये अलग अलग जो नवाब थे बंगाल के, उन्होंने इस पावर के लिए और ऑटोनॉमी के लिए सत्ता मांगना शुरू किया. ओके, और ऐसे वक्त में मुर्शिद कुली खान, अली वर्दी खान एंड सिराज उद्दौला, यू कैन सी हियर these three names, keep these three names in mind. मुर्शिद कुली खान, अली वर्दी खान, सिराज उद्दौला, ये बंगाल के नवाब थे. और ये तीनों भी, भाई बंगाल में अलग अलग टेरिटरी है, उन अलग अलग टेरिटरीज की ये नवाब है. इन तीनों में ये तीनों के तीनों बहुत स्ट्रांग थे. ओके, इसलिए उन्होंने कंपनी को कंसेशन देने से मना कर दिया, क्योंकि आप एक फॉरेन कंपनी हो और फॉरेन कंपनी जब यहाँ पे आप ट्रेड कर रहे हो तो आपको टैक्स देना पड़ेगा, उसमें आपको कोई कंसेशन वगैरह मिलेगा नहीं. लेकिन ब्रिटिशों को कंसेशन चाहिए था, क्योंकि अगर फायदा चाहिए, आपको लगता है कि आपको प्रॉफिट हो, तो उस प्रॉफिट के लिए डेफिनेटली बिजनेस करने वाले ये सोचेंगे कि हमें कम से कम टैक्स लगाया जाए. ऐसा वो मांग कर रहे थे. लेकिन इन नवाबों ने उनको ये कंसेशन दिया नहीं और उन्होंने कंपनी से बहुत बड़े बड़े ट्रिब्यूट्स की मांग की. अगर आपको यहाँ पे ट्रेड करना है, बिजनेस करना है, तो आपको बहुत बड़े बड़े ट्रिब्यूट देने पड़ेंगे, गिफ्ट्स देने पड़ेंगे. ऐसा उन्होंने इनसे मांग किया. और इसी वक्त कंपनी को भी लगा कि अगर यहाँ पे टिकना है तो हमें हमारे सेटलमेंट जो है, मतलब हमारे फोर्टिफिकेशन या बिजनेस, इसको बढ़ाना होगा अगर यहाँ पे हमें टिकना है तो. और इसलिए इसको अगर बढ़ाना है और इसी तरह से हम टैक्स देने लगे और ट्रिब्यूट्स देने लगे इन नवाबों को, तो हमारा बिजनेस प्रॉस्पर कैसे होगा, बढ़ेगा कैसे? इसलिए ब्रिटिश अभी यहाँ पे एक चाल चलते हैं. यस, द बैटल ऑफ प्लासी. व्हाट वाज दिस बैटल ऑफ प्लासी? लेट्स सी. 1756 में अलीवर्दी खान गुजर जाते हैं और सिराज उद्दौला वो बंगाल के नवाब बन जाते हैं. The company was worried about his power and keen on puppet ruler who would willingly give trade concession and other privileges. See, now what happens here? Let's try to understand. In 1756, Alivardi Khan died. Now, Siraj Uddaulah became the Nawab of Bengal. Now, Siraj Uddaulah, he was completely against giving the concession to Britishers for their trade. That's why Britishers were thinking that this is a threat to our existence. They were worried about his power and keen on a puppet ruler. They were expecting such a ruler, puppet ruler, who will follow the orders of Britishers. He will be Nawab, but all the orders will be followed by him of the Britishers. That they were thinking about the Nawab. Such a puppet we want. And finally, they got this. And infuriated Siraj Uddaulah asked the company. So when they were trying to do this, there was one person. His name was Mir Jafar. Okay. When Britishers were trying to poke their nose in political affairs and trying to convince Mir Jafar to get the power, that with the help of Britishers he will get the power, and Mir Jafar, he was commander of Siraj Uddaulah. So they were just trying to convince Mir Jafar that we will give you power, but you have to revolt against Siraj Uddaulah. So when Siraj Uddaulah comes to know about it, he asks the company, he scolds the company by saying that you should not poke your nose in political matters. Okay? So, and his domination, and stop fortification and pay the revenues. And he asked them to pay the revenues. So when Britishers heard this, they came to Nawab, means Siraj Uddaulah, and they started negotiations. But these negotiations were failed, and Nawab sent 30,000 soldiers to the English factory, captured the English officials and locked the warehouse, blocked the English ships. On hearing the news of Calcutta, company sent forces from Madras under command of Robert Clive. Okay, see, means already this battle is going on in Bengal. So from Calcutta, Robert Clive, who was the first Governor General of India, with army, from Madras he comes under command of Robert Clive. He comes there, and finally in 1757, Robert Clive, he brings his army, and there was a fight at Plassey. See, Plassey, it's the name of a place, Battle of Plassey. Actually, in our Indian words, we called it Palashi. But as you know, Britishers can't pronounce it properly. That's why it became Plassey. Okay, so Palashi, from Palashi, it became Plassey. So it is said that already the fight didn't take place there. Means we call it Battle of Plassey. Both forces, means the force military of Robert Clive and military of Siraj Uddaulah, they both were standing in front of each other. But fight didn't take place. Battle didn't take place because Mir Jafar, as I told you, he just revolted against Siraj Uddaulah, and he refused to fight against Britishers. And finally, the power was handed to Mir Jafar by the Britishers, and Siraj Uddaulah was kept in prison. So Battle of Plassey was the most decisive war that marked the initiation of British rule in India for the next 2 centuries. Battle of Plassey or Palashi took place between British East India Company and Nawabs of Bengal and his French allies. Okay, who were the allies? French, they were allies of Nawabs. Means जैसे हम कहते हैं ना, दुश्मन का दुश्मन वो हमारा दोस्त होता है, वैसे फ्रांस और इंग्लैंड ये एक दूसरे के बहुत बड़े दुश्मन थे. इसलिए नवाब ने सोचा कि हम फ्रांस की मदद लेते हैं, फ्रेंच लोगों की, जो हमारे यहाँ पे कॉलोनीज बना के बैठे हुए थे. तो उनकी मदद से उन्होंने ये करने की कोशिश की, लेकिन फिर भी ब्रिटिशों ने अपने डिवाइड एंड रूल के प्रिंसिपल से मीर जाफर को अपनी तरफ कर लिया. और इस तरह से 1757 में 23 जून 1757 में मुर्शिदाबाद डिस्ट्रिक्ट में भागीरथी रिवर पे लड़ाई हुई, ऐसा हम कहते हैं, लेकिन एक्चुअली लड़ाई हुई नहीं थी. ओके, तो वहां पे इस तरह से ये बैटल जीतने के बाद, बिना किसी को मारे ये बैटल जीतने के बाद, ब्रिटिशों ने सच्चे मीनिंग से पूछेंगे अगर हम, तो मतलब उनके हाथ में रियल पावर जो थी, पॉलिटिकल पावर, वो इस बैटल के बाद उनके हाथ में पूरी तरह से आ गई. ओके. द फ्रेंच ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी ऑल्सो सेंट अ स्मॉल आर्मी टू ज्वाइन नवाब्स फोर्स अगेंस्ट द ब्रिटिश. The army commander Mir Jafar, see here it comes. The army commander Mir Jafar of Siraj ud-Dawla side betrayed in the battle of Plassey, and thereby the whole force of Nawab collapsed. And as a consequence, the entire province of Bengal came under British. Thus, Plassey earns its importance in India history as a key factor leading to the ascendance of British rule in India. Okay. So in this way, this battle proved to be very decisive for Britishers. After this battle, they got the power in our India. So you might have understood this is the second step of Britishers. In first step, they were trading from 16th after means till first factory was set up in 1656. So if you count from 1656, you will come to know that after 100 years, second step comes, and that second step was political government, means political ruling. Earlier they were having the dominance over the trade. Now the dominance over political activities after Battle of Plassey. Yes. Now after the Battle of Plassey, the actual Nawabs of Bengal were forced to give land and vast sums of money as personal gift to the company official. See, now as you know, if you want to rule any country, then always you cannot disappoint the people. If you are disappointing them again and again, if you are hurting their emotions, then people will revolt. Okay. And if you are just pinpointing their religious emotions, then people will revolt. So keeping this in mind, Britishers realized that if we take out these Nawabs, then people will not allow us to rule. So what we will do? We will keep them Nawabs only. Means these Muslims, these Mughals, they will be Nawabs. But we will take a big ransom or tributes from them. Okay? Means now see, earlier Britishers were giving tributes. Now they will take from Nawabs. So that was the condition. So forced to give land and vast sums of money as personal gift to the company officials. Can you see how cunning the Britishers are? Robert Clive himself amassed a fortune in India. He came to Madras at age of 18. When he left India, his Indian fortune was worth 4,01,102 euros. Okay, the currency of Britishers. When he was appointed as the governor of Bengal in 1764, he was asked to remove corruption in company administration, but he was himself self-cross-examined in 1772. Are you getting this? Means Robert Clive was sent to India to see what corruption is going on in the company. Because definitely when Britishers came to India, why they came to India? Because as it was told about India, that India is the sparrow of gold. A lot of gold is there in India. So this temptation brought Britishers in our India. So when they came to India, these officials, definitely they were just captivated by this game, and they started doing corruption in company, not paying taxes to the government, British government. So to stop this and to see this, they sent Robert Clive here in India, 1762. Okay, but he himself, you can see this much amount he amassed, he collected, and finally he himself was cross-examined in 1772 by the British Parliament, which was suspicious of vast wealth. Although he was acquitted, he committed suicide in 1774. So this was the fate of Robert Clive. Okay. So I hope till here everything is clear to you. How Britishers became, means till now they have not become Nawab. They have kept puppet. These puppet will help Britishers to rule. Because if Britishers themselves become Nawab, then there will be a revolt from the people. That's why right now, till here, Britishers have not become Nawabs. Okay? Puppet rulers are there. And who is the puppet? Mir Jafar. So till here, we will stop. I hope till here everything is clear to you. If you have any query, you can ask me. Okay? Chalo, fine. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.